In the village of Umwagu, surrounded by red earth roads and thick palm trees, a strange child was born. His name was Obiajulu. The heart is consoled. Chinua, his young mother, loved him dearly, though his birth nearly claimed her life. 3 months later, something happened that changed everything. One evening, as the fire crackled in the clay hearth, Chinua rocked her baby in her arms. The night was quiet, only the sound of crickets and the distant hoot of an owl. Then suddenly, she heard it. A voice, soft but clear. "Mama, do not cry again. I came with a message." The calabash of water in her hand slipped and shattered on the ground. Her heart pounded like a drum. She looked around the hut, no one was there. Then her eyes dropped to the child in her arms. His lips had moved. "No, it cannot be," she whispered, trembling. But the baby looked at her again, eyes shining strangely, and repeated, "Do not fear me, Mama. I will speak only to you." Chinua screamed. Her husband, Ikochukwu, rushed in from outside with a lantern. Neighbors soon gathered, their faces worried and curious. "What happened?" Ikochukwu demanded. Chinua, shivering, pointed to the child. He spoke to me. Our baby spoke. He told me not to cry." The hut exploded with laughter and disbelief. One neighbor, Mama Adana, slapped her thigh. "Chinua, have you lost your senses? A baby of 3 months speaking. Nonsense." Even Ikochukwu frowned deeply. "Woman, do not disgrace me. Sleep has confused you. Children cry, they do not talk." Chinua tried to insist, her eyes wild with fear, but no one believed her. That night she barely slept, clutching her child, whispering prayers. For the next 7 days, the same thing happened. Every night, when they were alone, Obiajulu spoke to her. "Mama, do not fear. They will not believe until the time is right. Mama, protect me. Some among them wish me harm." But when she tried to tell her husband or anyone else, the baby remained silent, cooing like an ordinary child. Soon, whispers began to spread in the village. "Chinua is going mad. She says her baby talks. Have you ever heard such foolishness? Perhaps a spirit has entered her head." By the 7th day, the gossip had grown too loud to ignore. The elders sent for Ikochukwu. "Bring your wife," they commanded. "We must take her to the village head. If she is mad, we will know what to do." That evening, men gathered outside her hut. Chinua was dragged out, weeping, clutching her child tightly. "I am not mad," she cried. "He speaks, I swear it on my mother's grave." The villagers shook their heads in pity. Some spat on the ground. The crowd began to march her toward the village head's compound. Her baby stirred in her arms, blinking at the angry faces. Then, in a voice so clear and powerful that everyone heard, he spoke. "Leave her at once. She is not mad." The entire crowd froze. Silence spread like harmattan wind. The child's tiny lips had moved. The words had come from him. Women screamed and fell to their knees. Men dropped their staffs in shock. Some shouted, "Tufiokwa." Others cried out prayers to God and the ancestors. Chinua stood trembling, her heart pounding. At last, the truth was out. After the night Obiajulu spoke in front of everyone, Umwagu was never the same. The baby who talked became the heartbeat of every conversation. In the marketplace, women whispered while balancing baskets of cassava on their heads. Hunters argued under the shade of the palm wine tree. Even children sang short rhymes about the baby who talks like a man. Some villagers came to Chinua's hut carrying gifts, yams, palm oil, and fowls. They wanted to see the child, to touch him, to hear him speak again. Others came with charms tied around their waists, muttering silent prayers, fearing the child was a spirit in disguise. The elders called a meeting under the old Iroko tree. The village bell was struck 3 times, and all men gathered. Papa Nana, the oldest elder, leaned on his staff as he spoke. "My people, a mystery has walked into our midst. A child who talks before he has teeth. This is no ordinary matter. Some say it is a blessing, some say it is a curse. We must watch carefully. The crowd nodded, but not all agreed. One man, Okofo the hunter, rose angrily. What blessing is this? I heard with my own ears, the child's lips moved. No baby should speak. If we keep him, misfortune will come. Another man, Uche, shook his head. What if he was sent to help us? The spirits can use even a child to save a village. The debate grew fierce, voices rising like waves against a rocky shore. In the end, the elders decided, the child would not be harmed, but he would be closely watched. That very night, as the moon cast a silver glow over the huts, Chinyu nursed Obiajulu to sleep. She whispered, "My son, why do they fear you so much?" The baby opened his eyes, calm and knowing. "Mama, danger is near. They will not believe me until the signs appear. But you must not fear. My time is short." Chinyu's heart tightened. She did not understand his words, but she felt a heavy weight pressing on her chest. The following week, strange things began to happen. The village well suddenly dried up, though it was the season of rain. The yam barns showed signs of rot, even when the tubers looked fresh. Chickens stopped laying eggs. People began to murmur. This is the doing of the talking child. He has brought a curse. One moonlit evening, a group of men gathered secretly. Among them was Okofo the hunter, his eyes burning with fear. If we kill him now, Okofo hissed, peace will return. A spirit child cannot live among men. They crept toward Chinyu's hut with machetes and staffs. But just as they reached the doorway, Obiajulu's voice rang out, clear and commanding. Do not touch me, or the earth will swallow your feet. The men froze. Their bodies shook as though unseen ropes bound their legs. Suddenly, the ground beneath them rumbled, and a crack split the earth at their feet. They screamed and fled into the darkness, dropping their weapons. The next morning, the whole village buzzed with the story. Some trembled with fear, others began to believe that truly, this child had come with a purpose. From that day, no one doubted that Obiajulu was more than just a child. But whether he was sent for their blessing or their downfall, no one could yet say. The mystery of the talking baby refused to leave the lips of the people. Weeks had passed since the night he spoke before the crowd, and yet he had not uttered another word. He only cooed and laughed like any other infant. Some began to doubt what they had heard. Maybe we were bewitched, one farmer said. No, I heard it clearly, another argued. But why has he kept silent since then? The women asked in whispers at the stream. Confusion spread like wildfire. Suspicion followed. At last, the elders decided to take the matter to the chief priest of Umwagu, a man named Dibia Obidike, who was known to speak with the ancestors. On the day of the meeting, the entire village gathered at the shrine. The air was heavy with incense. The old priest, tall and lean, with chalk markings across his body, listened as Popanana explained everything about the strange child. Tell us, Popanana said, is this baby a blessing or a curse? Shall we cast him away, or shall we protect him? The Dibia remained silent for a long while. Then he raised his cowries and let them fall onto the earth. His eyes grew distant, as though he was listening to voices no one else could hear. Finally, he spoke, but his words came like riddles. A stream may look quiet, yet beneath it hides the crocodile. The sun may delay its rising, yet when it comes, all darkness flees. Be patient, my people. Time will reveal the path of this child. The villagers murmured. Some were frustrated. What kind of answer is this? They grumbled. But others, wiser, nodded. The spirits have spoken, we must wait. So they waited. The days grew darker. Rain stopped, the stream shrank into a trickle, and the yam barns began to rot. Goats wandered weak, and even hunters returned from the forest empty-handed. Hunger crept slowly into every household. Fear gripped the village. The child is the cause, some shouted. Since he came, nothing has been the same. It was on one of those hungry nights, when the moon shone faintly through drifting clouds, that Obiajulu finally broke his silence. Chinyu sat in her hut, trying to soothe her crying stomach with a calabash of watery pap. She looked at her son, her heart heavy with sorrow. "Why, my child? Why did you come to me? What is your purpose?" The baby stirred, his eyes glowing faintly. Then his voice rang out, not just in the hut, but across the entire village, as though the very air carried his words. "Do not be afraid. I was sent to save you." All of Obiajulu froze. Farmers in their huts, women at their firesides, elders in their compounds, everyone heard the voice of the child. They ran toward Chinu's hut until the square overflowed with people. Obiajulu sat upright in his mother's arms, his tiny lips moving, his voice powerful. "A great famine is here. Hunger and death walk toward this land. But if you obey, you will live. Build a storehouse together. Gather the food that remains and share as one people. Plant cassava by the riverbeds before the waters dry completely. And you must not forget, offer a sacrifice to the gods of this land, so they will strengthen your barns and bless your harvest. Take a white goat, 3 calabashes of palm oil, and 7 tubers of yam, and lay them at the foot of the iroko tree. Only then will your labor prosper." The crowd trembled. Some covered their faces. Others wept openly. At once, the elders sent for Dibia Obidike. He listened, then cast his cowries on the earth. His eyes widened, and he declared, "The ancestors confirm it. This child is a messenger. His words are true. Disobey, and Obiajulu will perish. Obey, and Obiajulu will live." The next morning, the sacrifice was performed at the great iroko tree. The goat bleated, the palm oil flowed, and prayers rose like smoke into the sky. After that, the entire village worked together. Men built a massive storehouse in the square. Women gathered palm oil, dried fish, and yam. Farmers planted cassava by the riverbeds. When the famine deepened, Obiajulu alone had food. Neighboring villages perished, but Obiajulu survived. Obiajulu had saved them. But salvation came with a price. One night, Obiajulu whispered to his mother, "Mama, my work here is finished. I must go, but I will return. Do not weep. When you see a child with eyes like mine, you will know I have come again." Chinu clutched him tightly, tears falling like rain. "My son, don't leave me. You are my joy, my only child." The baby smiled faintly. "Be strong, Mama. The land will remember." A few mornings later, as the sun rose golden, Obiajulu lifted his small hand and waved at his mother. Then he closed his eyes. He never woke again. The entire village mourned for 7 days. Drums beat slowly, women wailed, and men sat in silence. Yet beneath their grief was gratitude. For though he was but a baby, he had saved them from destruction. And from that day, mothers told their children, "The ancestors may send a messenger in any form, even the mouth of a child." And so ends the story of Obiajulu, the child who spoke with the voice of the ancestors and saved his people. He still reminds us that even the smallest among us can carry the greatest message. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss more powerful folktales like this one. Also, I'd love to know where you're watching from. Drop your location in the comment section. Let's see how far Obiajulu's story has traveled.